Right, I'll start with, I'm Dave Jones.
I'm Thomas Hawkins.
I'm Eugene Boadu.
Okay. And we are going to do the question, is tax avoidance ethically acceptable? We're going to show both sides of the argument. Me and Tom are going to do the reasons why it's against tax avoidance, and Eugene and Siv will be doing reasons for tax avoidance. Okay. The government are making cuts which is affecting the general public and potential customers of major corporations who use these tax avoidance schemes. And these corporations are paying tiny taxes. Do they contribute enough to public services, education, healthcare, investment in infrastructure, which, if the main people in these corporations were in this country, they would expect these services? Right, this is the corporation tax rates, which normal companies pay in this country. So is it fair that Google and Amazon, Apple, etc. aren't abiding by these tax rate rules? See, in 2012, if you look at what Google paid compared to Centrica, Google paid just over 2%, where Centrica paid 45% in taxes that year, which is not fair on one company to pay and another company not to pay. Right, at the latest G8 summit, Russia was the only country in that summit not to agree to using the OECD, and the OECD is a system set up by these countries, which is a system which shares everybody's amount of tax they pay by all major corporations.
The main reason why companies obviously try and avoid paying their taxes is because they want to increase their post-tax profit figures. Obviously, tax is a form of post-profit expense, so if they reduce that, then their profit actually obviously goes up. Companies are getting away with not paying their corporation tax because of legislative loopholes which have been just left unattended for about 100 years because of just mishaps here and there, mainly by the UK government having bad acts to deal with this sort of thing. Amazon and Google, for example, have quite influential positions within the global markets, and they also have strong legal teams which make it really impossible for countries to tackle the problem alone. Really need something like G20 or G8 to tackle the problem, otherwise nothing's going to happen at all. G20 did attempt to solve the problem in July, but not much come of it at the moment. I mean, countries are disagreeing with each other because of the influence that other businesses have on each other. There's also a thing called phantom companies, which businesses are starting to use, which basically companies create fake companies and deal with business within these companies. These companies can't be tracked by any country because they don't have the country they belong to. And they use their assets to not pay tax on any country at all. And obviously business does exist to make a profit, but it is you need to make a profit fairly without breaking the law really, and this is, in my opinion, and everyone's opinion, that this is actually breaking the law. We've also got a video to explain, like in quite a nutshell, how they are avoiding paying tax in this country.
Welcome to BigBiz Co., a fictitious multinational based in the US. BigBiz has a presence in dozens of countries, including the UK, where it makes widgets. Its British subsidiary, BigBiz UK, made widgets last year that sold for £900 million. But corporation tax isn't paid on sales, it's paid on profits. Somehow, BigBiz UK only made a profit of £10 million. How? How? Well, because Big Biz UK spends a lot of money importing parts from Big Biz Hong Kong, and every widget it makes it then sells on very cheaply to Big Biz Ireland, which has rights to sell the company's product across Europe. Big Biz Ireland charges more when it sells to consumers and does earn a healthy return. End result, Big Biz makes most of its profits in low-tax Ireland and Hong Kong, not the UK. And it doesn't even pay Irish tax on most of those profits because Big Biz Ireland is run from New York, so the Irish authorities say it's American. The US, meanwhile, treats the company as Irish because its business is overseas. Magic. And all those low tax bills are perfectly legal because most of the rules were written nearly 100 years ago when the world was very different.
Basically, Big Biz UK is the nearest similarity to a company is Starbucks, which is mainly run in Ireland and then run from New York, and then there's a clash in the middle somewhere and everything breaks down. I think Starbucks did go through a legal battle and are now paying about, I'm not sure what the figure is, but I know they're paying just a small percentage of what they should be paying now, but it is better than £0, which they paid in 2012.
Argument for tax avoidance. Google Grant, launched in 2013. Google grants a unique in-kind donation program that awards free adverts advertising to selected charitable organizations around the globe. The coffee giant Starbucks has become the first British chain to sign up for a goodwill initiative, allowing customers to buy beverage and reserve one for the homeless. In 2008, Starbucks and the Prince Trust signed a 5-year partnership for an aim to work together to transform the lives of thousands of young people in the UK. They also do many environmental projects to, for example, to tackle climate changes. They do this by focusing on renewable energy and energy maintenance. So a business like this has many good causes. Therefore, if they have to pay taxes, then they might not do what they are currently doing. We also carried out our own survey in Valley Green, and where we have asked 30 people who came to a local retail shop that what search engine they use, and 100% of them said Google, and 86% said they use it every day. So that's 26 out of 30 people. We also asked the same question to 15 students at Staffordshire University, and all of them said they use Google. So in that case, if the Google didn't exist in the UK, then that would cause quite a problem.
Essence of paying tax. The question is, what's the essence of paying tax? Tax is paid to stimulate and boost the economy. And the companies are already doing this by employing people and giving them salaries and wages, which in effect increases their purchasing power, and as a result contributes to the overall gross domestic product of a country, the GDP. In the UK, the NHS is supported by the payment of the national insurance, which is paid for employees by companies, and the national insurance is the bedrock of the NHS. And the NHS, as we all know, is the largest employer in Europe. And we should imagine a case whereby companies are not paying the national insurance or are not employing people to pay the national insurance. The NHS wouldn't have existed. Effects of imposing high corporate tax rates. When high corporate tax rates are imposed or forced onto companies, the only effects will push the companies to countries where they have softer and flexible tax system. There are a lot of countries surrounding UK that have flexible and softer tax system, like Isle of Man, Monaco in South France. They have softer and lower tax system, and a lot of companies are moving there, with some of the rich folks moving there just because they have a softer tax system. Also, Google's office in London employs about 2,000 people, and Starbucks employs about 8,500 people. Imagine a case whereby Google and Starbucks doesn't exist in the UK. That would mean about 10,500 people will be jobless. And at the end of the day, they will come back to the government to demand job seekers allowance and other benefits. So these companies play a very vital role in sustaining the economy. The question is it ethical or unethical for these companies to avoid or pay low tax? The answer, I think, is ethical, because they are just making use of established laws which exist. They are not breaking any law, because we've not heard of Starbucks or Google being arrested for not paying or avoiding tax. It's just a system that they make, because Amazon, for instance, has its headquarters in Luxembourg, even though it operates in UK. And the European law adequately allows this to exist, because since the headquarters in Luxembourg, its owners sort of are located in Luxembourg. Therefore, they are not entitled to pay tax in the UK particularly. They are supposed to pay tax in Luxembourg, which have lower and softer tax system. The spotlight is basically on multinational companies or non-UK owned companies, because companies like Amazon, Starbucks, Facebook, Apple, they are all owned by Americans. And people in the UK have capitalized on these, because the assumption is they are owned by people not from UK or non-British. But from our research, we realized independent clinical services that work in partnership with NHS are also involved with tax evasion. What they do is they make use of a tax law in Europe that's called Eurobond exemption, and it works by a basic principle. They go for loans, high loans from their owners, and the owners give them high interest rates. As a result, their profits are lower because of the high interest rates on their loans. Consequently, they pay low tax bill, and at the end of the day, the money goes back to the owners or the ones that give them the loan. In conclusion, it can be unequivocally asserted that the benefits of companies existing in the country is outweighs the taxes they pay, because these businesses provide employment for people, and people need to survive. So imagine a case whereby a lot of these companies don't exist. It will be difficult for the survival of people. Secondly, the essence of any business is to make profits. And as much as possible, they try as much as possible to maximize profit. And if they channel all this money into taxes, that means the companies wouldn't exist. And lastly, taxes are supposed to go to government, but the government itself is not an angel. They actually sometimes waste hard-earned taxpayers' money. An example is recently the gym in Westminster, the House of Commons, was renovated for £250,000 just for a gym. And just a treadmill in that gym cost £12,500. That £12,500 can buy a 2009 BMW 1 Series Sports, and you get in plus a treadmill from Agos, and you'll still get a lot of change. And lastly, the government is wasting money on foreign aid, hard-earned taxpayers' money on foreign aid. Recently, the government paid about £1.1 billion to Nigeria in terms of foreign aid. And it will be funny to realize that Nigeria, the MPs in Nigeria are the highest earners in the world. They earn about £122,000 per year. So why would you waste taxpayers' money on a country that pays its MPs £122,000? Meanwhile, in the UK itself, MPs earn about £63,000 averagely per annum. So our argument is it's better to allow these companies to operate by paying low tax. And at the end of the day, it's just that they are making use of the system. And the benefits are outweigh more than them going into extinction or leaving the country. Any questions, please?